So my name's Lisa Dixon, and I am the Director of Payroll and Employee Services for Albury Wodonga Health.
Excellent. And so payroll and
Employee services.
Employee services.
Yeah, so it's a bit, it's sort of like the employee services side is the middle bit between the HR and the payroll. So it's getting the people onto the systems, setting them up into the payroll, making sure that they've, completed all the relevant onboarding documents. But then it's also part of that separation process or making sure that they're leaving and, returning things and getting paid their entitlements, all of those things. So there's a lot of processing that needs to be done that comes from our people and culture team.
Yes.
That the payroll really legally aren't allowed to process into the payroll because there has to be a segregation of duties. Interesting, you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
No.
So
as a control mechanism, every good payroll should not have the payroll team putting the information into the system and then paying people.
Right.
Because that opens it up to fraudulent activity, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to get the pay right, like for all the things that you do right
But if you didn't have the segregation, it would be very easy for me to set up a John Doe, do a roster for him, pay him every fortnight into my bank account.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's what the employee services side is.
Yeah. Is employee services and payroll different in healthcare compared to other industries?
Oh, that's a good question. I've only ever worked in health.
Yeah, tell me more. Like, so across health. So it's in the hospital setting. So the employees, because I know on the primary care setting, there's the complexity around. Often the clinicians are contractors, so probably not involved in the payroll side. But there's a lot of staff that are involved within a hospital setting.
So we've got just over 3,000 staff, and we've got, because we're a cross-border organisation, we actually have some employees that are on a New South Wales contract and some that are on a Victorian contract.
Right.
And because of that, New South Wales Health are a centralised system. They have a payroll system that pays their whole state.
Yeah.
So the payroll team that sits up in Parramatta in Sydney, they pay over 180,000 staff.
Yeah.
And we've got 1,000 of those people on that payroll.
Okay.
We're just a little tiny pebble in their massive pond.
But it's not a immaterial amount of people.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah.
And then on the Victorian side, we run our own in-house payroll. So we run it there and there on the spot, and we've got just over 2,000 people on that payroll.
Huh.
So, and we pay nearly any profession you can think of works in hospital.
Yeah.
So you've got people. We've got photographer, we've got cleaners, we've got admin staff, and then you've got various different types of doctors, nursing staff, and all your allied health team, physios, whatever you name. We've got a chaplain.
Yeah. That's cool.
There's a wide gamut of different people that work in a hospital environment.
Now, at this summit, I've heard a lot of people talk about innovation and new ideas and how, the system's transforming. Payroll and employee services wouldn't be the first place that I think of in terms of, rapid transformation and change, but I'm not in the thick of it. Is it an evolving area?
It has to be. So you have to keep up with them for more.
Yep.
You have to keep up with legislation. EBAs change. So at this point in time, the Victorian health EBAs have all been renegotiated because they sort of go for about 4 years. One by one, they're sort of finishing and renegotiating. The nurses one came in late last year, and it introduced a whole pile of new allowances and penalties and things. So we have to upgrade our systems. So, and we use Optima to do our rostering, and Optima holds all of those EBA rules. It's called a ward interpreter. Yeah. So it sits in the back of the roster, and I can put in your shift on Monday from 6 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the system tells us what that payment's going to look like, whether it's generated an overtime, whether it's a special allowance, whether it's a weekend shift penalty or whatever. Optima does all of that for us, so we have to make sure that is always up to date. Otherwise, we have over and under payments.
Yeah, well, that's what you rely on, right?
Yeah, but it also comes back to we're in a stage at the moment at Albury Wodonga Health where we've had Optima for about 12 months, and now we can see the benefits of having Optima and what we can use the data for.
Yeah.
So we're starting to look at, we have a really high agency cement. So we're rural. We don't have endless amounts of doctors and nurses just waiting to be called for a shift. So we don't have a huge casual pool, those types of people. The cities hospitals do. You know, you can have a nurse that is on 5 different casual pools across 5 different big hospitals. Same with the doctors. But we don't. So we've got a nursing pool, but we still need to use agency nursing. But our doctors are the ones that cost us a lot of money because we have a lot of doctors that fly in. They'll do their week's work down in Melbourne, and then they'll come up and work in our emergency department over the weekend. They get a good hourly rate.
Sure.
But it's costly.
And so is that visibility then through the system that's helpful for you? Like by what gets measured gets managed or whatever?
Well, that's right, because it was sort of like a hit. We'd get the invoice.
Yeah.
We knew how much it was costing us per year.
Yeah.
But there was no data to support it.
Yeah.
Because no one was actually putting the data anywhere.
Yeah, I see it.
So now we've set that Optima, we can actually put the agency staff member into Optima, and the manager, when they have an agency staff member, they can drag that. There's the shift, there's the agency, matches up, and we can generate that report at the end of the month and cross-reference that against our invoice.
That sounds helpful.
And it's sort of, it's in its early stages, but we need to move to the point where we can go, we actually use that agency person for a legitimate need, legitimate shift, because at this point in time we don't know.
Yeah, that's right. You got to have the information there to be able to make those informed decisions.
So we build in that background information, making sure our demand for what we need on that particular shift in that particular ward, making sure that's correct, the skill mix is correct, and then ultimately the reporting that comes out will be so much better. But yeah, that's where we're working at Global. So there's always things to be done.
There's always things, that's right. And so speaking of things that you're doing, you're here at the RLDatix Summit. I believe you're up on a stage.
I was.
You were.
Was part of the panel before.
Yes, that's right. And so what were the kind of topics and themes you were talking about there?
We were talking about how we use technology and data for patient safety and care.
Yeah.
And I think I started by saying, I'm not really sure why you've got me here. But I like to promote. I've always worked in human resources and payroll, and I've always worked in health, so I'm quite passionate about it.
Yes.
But I really do believe that even though we're back of house, we play a huge part in patient safety and care, and putting back into the whole. We all play a role.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people out there that think that we don't. But we do, and I say to my team quite a bit, we need to, if we can make sure that staff are getting paid on time and correctly, that's one less thing they have to worry about in their life. And sometimes we'll have situations where a particular unit might be putting big pressure on us. The phone calls that come through are a little bit heavy, they could be a bit mean. The Karen comes out.
Well,
it happens everywhere.
Sure.
And then, I say to the team, just be mindful that nurse, we don't know what her hay has tipped her over the edge.
Yeah.
We don't know what has led the 24 hours before,
it's
the week
iceberg.
before.
Yeah.
And just getting her pay and it being 3 days short or her overtime's not in there has been enough to click her over the edge.
Yeah.
So we don't accept poor behaviour.
No.
But sometimes you've just got to say, I'm going to help you.
I have noticed at this summit, there's been this really nice undertone of around that kind of theme of, the importance of not kindness but care and the being mindful of all of the humans that are involved in this system.
Exactly.
And you can get so wrapped up in a process, but we're all squishy emotional humans in the end of the day.
And I think you have to be that type of human to work in public health. There's not too many benefits, if you know all that. If we don't get the same sort of benefits, whether it be financial, travel, all of those things that maybe the public sector get.
Yes.
But you have to be a type of person that wants to work in that environment.
Yeah.
So my daughter's a nurse. She always wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah.
And she's a real nurse. And I think to myself, I look at what she has to put up with on a daily basis, occupational violence, all of those things, and you go, why would you be a nurse?
Yeah.
But she's passionate about it. She loves it. And we just want to make sure that we pay them properly.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
So
and
true.
it's not that hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just got to get it right.
And I said when I was on the panel that, you know, everyone's got a story.
Yes.
And we don't know what that story is.
Yeah.
We don't know why they need their money. We don't know, you know, if someone's missed their pay, some people can wait a couple of days, some people can't. You know, then that's not our judgment call.
Yeah.
You know, we're obligated to pay people.
Yeah.
We have an issue where managers, you know, not keeping the restaurant to date and not signing it off at the deadline, which is at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. So then we can extract the data set, we can process the pay. You know, we've got managers that we're constantly sort of chasing.
Yeah.
And you ring them and you go, well, we know you're busy. No, we're on the floor. It's been a really hectic morning, you know, had this. And I go, yeah, but you want to pay your person.
I
You
think
need
that's
to pay your people.
Yeah, I think that's an important message for anyone that I would hope take away from this event is that the, you know, having that greater understanding of, I guess, the impact that your day-to-day has on other people as well. And that, you know, there's a lot can be said about better communication and better expectation setting, I think, too. So.
Yeah, that's right. And everyone, you know, everyone's saying, oh, you've got to improve the culture and all of those things. But all of this sort of stuff calls for improvement of the culture. In particular, I think you've got to build that trust, and people need to have trust in their payroll that they're going to get the pay when they need it at the right time, and it's going to be correct. And I have to say, over the last few years, we haven't had the best reputation. But we've actually been able to build that up. Yeah, I think people are becoming more and more trusting as, payroll. It's not just payroll stuff, pay again. It's, you know, what went wrong, and go,
Yeah, get that.
Yeah.
No trust, yeah.
But, it is all about people. It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, nice.